Let's bring in Hockey Night in Canada's Elilotte Friedman. He's in Vegas for this week's NHL Awards. Elilotte Trouba, he goes to the Rangers. That have anything to do with Karlsson staying in San Jose earlier in the day?
No, Ken, I don't think it did. I think that Trouba was a guy that the Rangers were targeting. I think he was a guy they'd been going after for a while. He was high on their list. I think they were going to try to do that regardless. I don't think the Rangers would have gone where San Jose did on Karlsson. I think they were interested. I think they looked at it. But at the end of the day, I don't think they were going to that particular number at this particular time. And I think Trouba was a guy that they had invested in, and I'm not surprised that he was the guy they got. I think there's some other teams who would have liked to have had Trouba that are going to be disappointed, but the Rangers really wanted him badly.
So the Jets took Trouba 9th overall in 2012. He had the trade demand a couple years ago. He had an arbitration case that went the distance. How would you describe his time in Winnipeg?
I think on the ice, he gave it all he could. He played hard for them, but off the ice, there's no question that it was a battle, and it was a battle every contract. And, some of that, Kurt Overhart, his agent, is a hard-driving guy, but I think you do what your client wants. And, if you take a look at some of Overhart's other clients, guys like Ekholm and Arvidsson in Nashville, they took less than their market value to stay there because they were happy. Trouba did not want to be there long term. That's why every contract negotiation was a grind. And I think Winnipeg just finally got tired of it and said, we have to move on. And, I think the return that they got, that says to me that Winnipeg is looking at their cap issue and saying, we have to make some room here. And I'm sure there are a lot of their fans are looking at their return and they're saying that's not enough. But I think that's the Jets saying, we have to make room to get some of our other guys signed.
Okay, let's go to Karlsson now. He gets 8 years. 8-year commitment from San Jose for a guy who, let's face it, was pretty banged up at times this season. What do you think of that deal?
Well, first of all, he had surgery recently, and from what I understand, the Sharks were very comfortable with what the surgery revealed and his timeline for recovery and all that. They don't seem to be as worried about it. Brian Burke showed something in the playoffs that Karlsson doesn't miss a lot of games. But you're right about one thing, Ken. He's had some pretty tough injuries. San Jose, though, had a stretch before he got hurt again in the new year where he was unbelievable. And they look at that and they think that is the player that they're going to get. I think the Sharks also believe that there was somebody else in the NHL who was willing to do this. And they felt if they didn't, somebody else was going to. And Doug Wilson, a guy who was a hell of a defenseman, sees Erik Karlsson and says, that's a player I want to have. Now, I think the question now is what is going to come around that? Do they have to make moves on the blue line? Maybe a backup goalie like Aaron Dell, Joe Pavelski. What's going to happen with some of their other restricted guys like Timo Meier? I think Doug Wilson's got a few things he's got to deal with. But I believe at the end of the day, his number one decision was he wanted this player, and he determined that was what it was going to take to keep him.
Yeah, Elilotte, when you look at the cash that San Jose has tied up on their blue line now, is that a little scary for you?
It's not scary in the sense that they're good players, but it's scary in the sense that everybody here is going to have to make choices, right? And number one, the first choice is going to be Joe Pavelski. And I think the issue with Pavelski is similar to what they went through with Marleau. It might be term more than money. And, if they can't keep Pavelski, that's something they're going to have to do. And if they can't get what they want to sign Meier and LeBanc for, I think that's going to determine the moves they have to make as opposed to where they have too much money.
Elilotte, good luck at the tables. Always be a gambler. Always hit on 18, baby.
Yeah, the other people at the table love when you do that.
Don't they? Thanks, Elilotte.
Take care, Ken.